you thinking about? Ah, ah, ah. Don't tell me nothing. What are you thinking about? Look, I get in my head often too. And over the years, I realized that I can overthink things. Here I am hyping things up that hasn't even happened, giving myself anxiety, stressing, out, okay? Over things that have not even happened, or the intentions that I thought was not. Now it's like I have to remind myself, okay, don't overthink it now. Okay. Think about what you can control right now. Okay. Breathe. Everything's going to be all right. One day at a time, one step at a time, one moment at a time. You know, instead of thinking so much about something that has not happened because of a certain event or a conversation you had with someone, or maybe something is about to happen, an event, or just the fact of you thinking like, okay, what could my friend be thinking? Or what could my coworker be thinking right now? Or in this certain situation, you're trying to actually dissect and diagnose what actually is happening with individuals in certain situations that you cannot control. You cannot control how people think. You cannot control what the outcomes are going to be in a lot of cases, especially when it comes to, you communicating with another person. You may assume what their intentions are. You may assume what they're going to do. You may assume what they're possibly going to say. But in reality, you don't know. I think about that too, because it's just like there's moments in certain situations where I catch myself overthinking, or literally being like, okay, what if this happens? What if this happens? And it's good to have a plan A, B, C, D, depending on the outcome, right? So you're somewhat prepared. But some people, they're like, if there's a problem, there's a solution. And once we figure out what that problem is, we'll figure out the solution then. I don't need to be having a whole bunch of plan A's, B's, and C's, and D's. That's not my thing. I'd rather just move as it comes. And some people like to plan. But you yourself cannot control what other people do, or what they think, or what they say, or how they feel. You can control you. So with that being said, right? I tend to think to myself a lot now, since over the years I was wondering why am I panicking over things and overthinking a lot of things. And then I realized there's a lot of those things I could not control. I could not control at all. But I can control how I react to them. I can control in regards to my actions and what I say and what I do, and so on and so forth. So instead of assuming, ask questions. I tell you, when I literally thought to myself, like, why not just ask? And if it turns out to be an answer I strongly dislike, then at least I know for sure what it is. Instead of me assuming and panicking, let me just ask the question. Even if it makes me uncomfortable, even if it makes me kind of, this gives me a little anxiety having to ask this question, because I need to know the answer to this. I don't want to assume this in regards to this certain situation. I don't want to assume that this is happening with my coworker, emotionally, mentally, or how they're feeling. I don't want to assume that my significant other feels this way and only thinks that way and doesn't really think about or care about how I feel. Like, no. step back sometimes. And once you step back, sometimes you'll get used to that, stepping back. Stepping out and back, actually. Because sometimes we need to step out, give ourselves a breath, right? And just step back and look at the situation all over again. And be like, you know what? Okay, let me not assume this is what's happening. Let me ask the question first before I assume. If I'm unsure and it's unclear and it's out of my control, I don't know on the outside of me what is happening, what may be transpiring, what is going on mentally, emotionally, physically, all of those things, socially even. Ask the question. Like I said, it may be an answer that you don't want to hear, but at least you know. Maybe it's an answer that you're like relieved, like, whoo, because I thought it was going to be da, 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 da. And see, we already took ourselves through that ringer of just anxiety and stress filled. I mean, who knows? It may have stressed you out the whole day, you know? But to avoid that, when you get to that point and it stings a little bit to the point that you're like, this is really getting under my skin. It's really rattling my spirit. It's really consuming me mentally. It's really consuming me emotionally. Don't assume. Ask questions. And for me, when I realized that I was somewhat of an overthinker, I started to think about things like, okay, how can I help myself from being so wrapped up in this stressful anxiety ball? What can help me with that? And then I started to think more so, like I said before, like, I can't control that. So let me find out what the intentions are. Let me find out what's going on. Let me find out what's going to be the outcome. Let's find out what is the, situation moving forward, But asking the questions can open your eyes to a lot, and it can relieve you. It could probably add a little bit more stress to you, but at least you know what it is. Instead of assuming and wrecking your brain to the point that it's just stressing you out fully and wholly, just get it out and ask a question. In a respectful way, that is, too. Okay? So, even with your loved ones, your friends, your coworkers, work on not assuming everything. Work on being more verbal and intentional about, hey, I really want to get this off my chest, or hey, this has been really bothering me, or hey, you know what? I really have a question. I was trying to figure this out myself, but it's best that I ask you because you would probably know more than I would. Those simple conversations, they may seem simple, They may seem simple, right? But sometimes we're so much in our head, we're just like, I don't know how to even start the conversation. How do I start the conversation? How do I even bring it up? Just ask the question. Just ask the question or questions. You got this. Trust me, you got this. Okay? And always remember, you are a unique light. So stay bright. Self-care is all around us and it pours into us. And we just want to continue to focus on those pockets of positivity. Okay? I'll talk to you later. Toodles.